It's Mojo, Tony, Jake, Jen, Danny Dwyer, all gathered around in the studio again for another round, a super round of BSing.
Hey!
Super.
Because of the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl?
Yeah, very good. I didn't know if y'all pick up on that. I think that's coming up like soon, isn't it?
I thought you were talking about Jen's bowl of soup. That's what I was thinking of.
I hope they hit a home run. It'll be a great
Superb
game.
owl?
Yeah.
Superb owl.
Superb owl.
Funny. Oh, let's be honest. We're the Super Bull.
Bull.
Oh.
Like that. See what I did
That's
there?
better.
Saw that.
You'll be sued by the end of the day.
It's on Facebook. We're
They
good.
are pretty adamant about that, aren't they?
Yeah, they, as long as you're not doing it with promotion.
We have to be very careful about that word. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
So get it out while you can, kids. Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
So this is the time of the week where we all get together and we bring a topic each to the table, something that's happened in our lives, our pop culture, a lot of things happening, of course. So we throw it on the table and BS about it. That's kind of the mantra of this event, this little thing we do every week. So who wants to go first? Do we want to draw straws, or anybody want to volunteer?
Mine's pretty boring, so I'll go last, I
We're
guess.
used to that.
Well, no,
Why would we want to close with
we want
yours?
to put that. We want to sandwich that crap.
They might be asleep by the time I get to mine.
Hey, we want to take your crap sandwich and put it in the middle there.
There you go.
We will at some point discuss Super Bowl halftime shows. I don't want to start with that, but know that that's coming if you want to have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to tease anything coming up?
Restaurants.
Restaurants?
If you return your food.
Okay. Anything else? Any
We're
other
not going to be
tease?
coming back from break. We can just start now.
Well, okay, fine. Dan,
Well, mine is going to be boring for you all, but I think there might be a lot of the audience that, Well, no, Joe, you're going to identify with it because you were online dating for a while.
Sure.
I want to talk about the dishonesty in online dating.
oh, God.
Do we have enough time for that?
I'm going to narrow it down because I want to talk to both men and women about pictures that we post.
I'd like to expand on that and include social media in general because we're all putting our false selves
I'm glad
out
you brought.
there.
Yeah, I actually am doing. There's going to be a blog up at bullmornings.com about it because I want to talk and I compare it to that. Is there a difference between what we post on Instagram and the pictures you're going to post on your online dating profile? And I think there is.
Okay, we're going to come back to
Yeah, I
that.
think
I want to
there
start
should
with
be.
the boring guy because you
Me?
said it was boring. That was your words, not mine.
And it won't be.
I'm sure people have dealt with this before, and I think you and I have had this conversation before, Mojo. And I know Jake is kind of like the very dude, back up, whatever space. I was at grocery shopping last night, and I just was like, in my moment, I was going through trying to grab stuff as fast as I could to get home and get some dinner cooking. And the lady behind me was almost running over my heels with her cart to get her food up on the conveyor belt.
So you punched her.
Well, and I'm like, no, I actually looked at her. I turned around and looked at her and really? It was so close. I even tried to turn the pin pad when I was doing my code because she was literally on my shoulder. And I had bread, I had lasagna, and I had salad stuff.
That's it?
5 items.
So you're the dream. You're the guy you get behind and you're great.
Yeah, I
nice
would have
to
been
do
in
that.
and out.
And
But
you didn't have a cart? You were just holding it?
No, I just had it in a little red basket, and she literally was she could have pickpocketed me. And I was I turned around and actually I looked at her
With a cart, right?
she had a cart and it was full. And I think she was probably just thinking maybe he's going to be really quick. And I was quick. But I'm like, give me some space. My God.
Unless you're giving me a colonoscopy, get off my rear, lady.
And in Clark County right now, everyone's a little freaked out about the measles. So I was like, oh, hey, get off my ass.
Yeah.
So you know what you do? You start itching.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, coughing like mad. Wiping stuff. That's my next clue. That's what I'm doing now.
Excuse me, ma'am. Do I have red dots all over my face?
Boy, we solved that one as quicker than ever, I think.
It was just so annoying. I was like, come on.
Hey, your problem is that she was putting the stuff up on the conveyor belt too fast?
No, yes and no. I mean, literally, like, I had no space because the person in front of me, I like to give them a little bit of,
of course,
a room, like just common courtesy, like, hey, you
a
know,
bubble,
here's your space. And I was shopping at Winco.
Yeah, but
and
you had one of the dividers, right?
Right, there's a divider left and right, so they try to get as many people as they could.
No, I'm talking about the
yes,
the little bars you put on the
divider
conveyor
bar that says this is my crap. That's
Right.
your.
Do you
crap.
ever have somebody try to put it up there before you put the bar down? You're like,
Yes.
I'm not done yet.
This was her.
Oh.
This was her.
Oh, the
And I was
worst.
Well, hold on. You had okay. All right. Now here we go. Here's the debate.
Devil's advocate.
So you had 5 items,
Yeah.
and she put the bar out, And you had a problem with that?
No. My bar, I was getting my bar. I left the person in front of me enough space.
Yeah.
Put that bar down. Then I calmly come in.
Yeah.
I put my stuff down, and I'm getting ready to put my bar down, and she's already throwing stuff on the conveyor belt.
Before you get the
okay.
bar.
Yes.
Okay, not
that's-
okay.
that's not
Let's
okay.
be honest,
Yes.
Danny. We've all seen you in public events. You are Mr. Politician. Like I don't know what you're running for, but I'm going to vote for you.
Mayor someday.
You walk into a room or an event, and you are just like lighting up the room. You're talking, and you're being all Mr. Energetic, and maybe your happiness pissed her off.
Hey, there's that.
Well,
There's
I
that.
have a question that no one's brought up.
Yeah.
You had 5 items. Why were you not doing it in the express lane?
Because the express lane was longer than the regular line.
Did they not have
Oh.
self-checkout?
They
No,
did.
but that never works
there's
out.
6 stations, but the
Yeah.
line was longer than that than it would have taken me to go through.
Yeah, but the 6 stations, they go through quick on
Did you
it.
have
I
any
don't-
produce, Danny?
No produce.
Okay, so it was all scannable stuff.
All scannable.
I would never want to be behind Danny. No offense, Danny. Punching in a code for
no.
produce.
You don't do the code. You
No
hit
offense.
enter it by name and type in banana. And then
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it wouldn't kill you. Just
Have you ever
find a
seen
little
Danny try to
picture.
spell?
Well, spelling and numbers are
Yes,
different.
I have social media.
So you wouldn't want to be behind Danny, me, or Jen, is what you're saying.
Oh, you definitely don't want to be
It's a
behind
nightmare,
me.
though. Those little self-checkouts are always a nightmare,
Wait,
especially
it
if you're
never-
behind
it
booze,
never
because then you
fails.
got to come over
Right.
and find you and all that. but-
Jen can't use self-checkout now.
Wow.
Screen.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Jen has a
Time.
concussion because she hit a catamaran. This is not a joke. If you missed the story this morning, you should listen every morning to Bull Mornings. Otherwise, you miss great stories like
You're
that.
asking yourself, what was she out for a swim? No,
No.
she was walking in her living room where there are catamarans.
Yeah,
If
the
you
boat
wanna-
was in my living room.
If you want to feel like you got your life together and you are brilliant, you need to listen to Bull Mornings because we'll make you feel better.
Like,
about yourself.
literally, I heard she hit her head on the catamaran, and I came and I'm like, so what's the story? She goes, that is the story. I'm like, no, I need more context. There was a catamaran in my house, and I hit my head on it.
Yeah.
See, when I did the group text last night and I told you all that I had a concussion, I was hoping no one would ask how because I really didn't
that's normal.
want to divulge how.
Right.
This is my favorite part. She's like, oh, I can't you do anything on the screen for a while because I'm not supposed to look at a screen. And then, so she took yesterday off. And then I'm like halfway through the day noticing I'm getting tagged in these posts and like she's making jokes at my expense. And I'm like, what are you doing on a
Oh,
screen
yes.
right
I
now?
was so bored, you guys.
I don't care if you're bored. Your concussion is more important. Don't you
Yeah.
think?
Do you know how hard it is to literally lay around and
do
look at
nothing?
nothing because I can't read a book?
It's not hard at
No,
all.
It's
You
not
can just
difficult
hold-
at all.
You hold little Bridger Bow.
He sleeps
just-
too, though.
You just described my
Babies
life.
are boring, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
I was bored out of my mind. I'm just gonna take a quickie look at the Facebook.
Nope.
Nope. Mojo was there to shut it down.
You were, and thank
You
you.
just turn the brightness down. You're fine, Jen.
Yeah.
I did
right.
have
You'll
it
be
on
good.
the night button,
Yeah,
so
you're fine.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I'm sure.
Mojo's just
contrast
covered
mode.
himself for HR.
Yeah. Facts. That is a fact. Jake, you want to go next, man?
I'd be happy to.
All right, hit us with it.
Mine is the most extreme temperatures you've ever been in.
Oh,
Whether
yeah.
hot or cold.
Okay.
You know, I was talking to our team. We have some stations in the company in the Midwest, and insanely cold out there right now. They said it was negative 40-something degrees this morning, and it's supposed to be even colder tonight, they said.
I've never
But-
been in any nonsense like
Yikes.
that.
But the crazy part is by Sunday, it's going to be 50 degrees. That's a 100-degree fluctuation in 4 days.
Wow.
Unreal.
I wonder
That
what
is
that really
crazy.
does to your body. You know what I mean? I wonder if you're I don't
Hypothermia
know.
instantly,
I guess
man.
we've
Yeah, but what was
evolved.
yours?
I don't
Yeah.
know that I've ever been in like more than like minus 10.
I've never been in minus anything.
You know, and my mom lives in the middle of Alaska out by Fairbanks, and she said that, you know, once you get past a certain point, it's all cold.
You can't tell the
Like
difference.
they literally have to plug their cars in overnight because it's so cold there.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the coolest video to me is the people that throw the boiling water up in the air.
Which-
And it freezes.
freeze that I can't comprehend that.
I
I
had
would
the-
love to see it.
I have the team out there doing that, so they're going to send it to us, and we can post it tomorrow.
I would love to
Yeah.
do it.
There-
I
would
love that.
it.
If you look on Facebook, there was a guy last night who was blowing bubbles, and as they were blowing them, they were coming out, and they would turn into from clear to frosted bubbles.
Oh,
All right,
whoa.
well, can I-
that's
really
cool.
cool.
That's
It was-
cool.
it was
Can
really
I see?
cool.
Can I tell you something gross I saw today?
No.
And you guys saw it.
Oh.
Scott. Well, I don't want to say his name. Our boss. Did you see the one? Here?
Scott Mahalik,
Right.
Yes.
our boss, the
posted the pic-
VP of Alpha, Scott
No,
Mahalik.
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
EVP, get the title right.
Yeah. That guy posted a picture of the back of people's pants.
Oh, he got that from B-Dub.
where people where they were tooting and it would freeze, so they toot and think they're getting away with it, and then there's a little circle in the back of their pants.
Right, Tony, that's a thing now. It's the hashtag fart freeze challenge.
But is it real?
Yes, it's real.
I don't know.
That is real. Well,
that's pretty extreme too.
if you've had like Mexican food the night before, it's even realer.
So mine was heat.
I wouldn't buy anybody who says it's
This
real.
could take an ugly
I know.
turn
You
quickly.
see, you're making me a skeptic.
Can I ask people in the company to try that, or is that like not allowed? Is that an HRG?
please, I would love to try it.
If you're watching
Patient
this
somewhere,
Right.
in the Midwest, we'd love for you to
Try
whether
it.
or not
Give it a
that's
go.
real.
Film your farts. That's what we're looking-
Mythbusters, film your farts.
Hashtag film your farts.
I've been in -20.
Is that in
In
Billings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our first winter there, people were like, oh, it's so mild here usually in the wintertime. Like there's some snow and it gets relatively cold, but it's pretty mild. And I had visited there like when I was interviewing I think it was in like February, which is still winter.
And you still took the job.
It was 60 degrees there. The week that I was there to
there.
interview and visit, I'm like,
It's
this
always
place
like
is
that.
great. It's sunny. It's 60 in February. I'm like, this is awesome. So the first winter we're there, people are like, this is the worst winter they've had since like the 30s. I'm like, of course it is.
That's what happens when we interview people
I was
in
gonna say.
Portland or Seattle area. It's always nice when you interview in those places.
I interviewed here in the middle of March. It was like sunny and 70. I'm like, oh, it's great here. It doesn't rain.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
Guess
negative.
again.
But it's true, and I've said that before. Like after you get past like -10, it's all cold. Like there's no
Painful
colder.
cold, right?
I don't think there is a version of that on the upper end though, because where's the hottest you've ever been? Because I can
115.
feel
Ooh.
every damn degree from 95 on.
Arizona.
Fair.
Texas.
Like 116
But it's
is
a
the
dry
hottest
heat.
I've ever. And it was, I'm from here. I'm from Oregon. First time I ever flew, we flew to Oklahoma for my brother's basic training. And
Ooh, yeah.
and that was the first time I'd ever like left the state. I was 16 and I remember coming off the plane, coming out of the terminal and the door opened, but it didn't.
Yeah.
The door opened, but that there was still a wall I couldn't get through.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right,
You
it was like a
feel
heat
it, don't
wave.
you?
Yeah.
Where is that again?
I had in
Oklahoma.
Oh, but it's
So they don't have
humid.
quite, not as much as like Houston, but it's still some good humidity.
Texas was. I lived in Dallas, Fort Worth
Oh, yeah.
area. It was the hottest I did, and I officiated a wedding in this outdoor wedding in Austin, Texas, in August.
What was the number?
And I was wearing a black suit. They told me it was 115. Now
That's hot.
it felt like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was that hot. That's pretty hot.
Right.
And even though we were in the shade a little bit, it was
still doesn't make a difference.
miserable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Miserable.
Especially like in Florida and Texas and stuff like that.
Florida's
It's
the worst.
humid. Like
Yeah.
Louisiana, it's just
Yes.
humid.
Oh,
That's
the
even worse.
humidity
'Cause then
is-
you're like dripping and it's hot. You can't get out of it.
And I used to love to be where it was really warm. I loved living in Texas. Now
Right.
can't as I've gotten older. No,
And there's a
don't
difference
want it
between
at all.
120 in dry heat and 120 in humidity.
Yeah.
When I
Yes.
lived in Central California, we had a concert every year. There was like a big street festival.
Yep.
And we had, 7 stages throughout like all the downtown area of Modesto. And it was the hottest day in the history of the city. It was 120 degrees, it might have been 121. And it was so hot, and we're on asphalt all day. I went through 3 different shirts, sweating through them, and I was pounding water all day, and I never went to the bathroom once.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow.
I
Isn't
drove
that crazy?
through.
You're peeing out your skin.
Yeah.
No, I'm sweating
I
it out.
drove through Needles, California at 1:45 in the morning, and it was 122, and I had the
22.
I had
my
the convertible off on my car, but I had the air conditioning cranked because it was a beautiful night
Yeah.
outside.
Did you have
Right.
hair yet or no?
No, I had hair at the time. It was flowing. Trust me. It was flowing.
Hold on, let me envision that.
No, Danny had one of the prettiest mullets I've ever seen.
He did.
To be clear, this sounds not real, Danny. It was 1:35 in the morning. And it was
1:45.
I know,
1:22.
right?
in
Doesn't
Needles,
seem real.
California,
Ooh.
which is like,
That's not possible.
yes, it's just outside of Cathedral City, Palm Springs, the desert area.
I've been in
It's-
Phoenix when it was
it's
over
close to
100
hell.
degrees at 10 o'clock at night. I mean, I get it.
We all work with we all know this
Yeah,
guy by the name
everybody's
of
moving to
RJ,
Arizona.
who works for the Country Radio Seminar. He's now the president of the board. He used to live in
Let me
Phoenix.
get that name you dropped, dude.
He used to live in Phoenix, worked for a station down there. He would have to warm his car up, like warm it up to turn the air conditioner on and let it sit for 20 minutes before he could go out and get in the car.
Yeah,
And
leather
it was
seats
like,
are a no-no.
yeah, it was quick. And I remember him telling that story. One time he went out and grabbed the steering wheel, and his hand stuck to the steering wheel, like burned him,
Ooh.
Yeah.
because it was so hot.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
I don't doubt that it's hot. I doubt that it's a 122 in the middle of the night.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, it
can
happens.
be.
it happens.
And let me say this, too, real quick. Hi to Sean. And Sherry wants to know, she's from Billings, and she misses the winters. I don't know why that would be. Chris brought up a good point. 2 of them, actually. Chris said, why is Jen not wearing a helmet? Good question. And 2, guys, would you prefer minus 10 or lower or above 100-degree temperatures?
I'll take
Above
lower.
100.
above 100.
Cold.
Bring it.
Above 100.
I agree with you.
Because I can get in a pool.
100%.
Well,
I can
if you
jump in the
have a
river,
pool,
I can
I
go
can get in the
inside.
lake.
I can take my
I agree.
clothes
I
off.
can layer up. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
When it's that, you take the clothes, you get down to a tank top, and then what?
Give me the heat. I'll just get naked.
Then you get naked.
It's me.
Sorry.
Yeah, but what if
Sorry
you're
for
what
the
if you're
visual.
what if you have to work at an event and you're outdoors?
I'll
Quit.
You're,
Quit.
quit. Your ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a typical
No.
female
I'll
answer
take
to a
the 100
hypothetical,
degrees.
Jen. Thank you.
All day.
Oh, I
know
don't
why
think
that
you
got
can.
all female.
I don't think you can say that
Wow.
anymore. HR
Can you even say that?
No, well,
What's
hold on. I don't care that you said it.
10:53.
What does that mean?
Well, usually
Women are known for quitting? That's
no,
not
they,
even a
they
good
don't. They don't
stereotype.
answer the hypotheticals typically. You can't say neither. You have to pick one.
Oh,
If you're
okay.
out of festival,
okay.
which
Oh,
one
that
do you
makes
do?
sense.
I
Okay,
said
so
I'd
women are
quit.
more detail. Are you saying women are more
That's what she
detail
said.
oriented?
She quit.
Well, no, they're more logical in the
And then I
approach,
go
and I
get in
get
a
it.
pool.
Neither I quit. That's probably the right way to answer it. But
Yeah,
if you have
well-
to pick one or the other, which one would you?
I'm going
I already said I'd pick the 100-degree.
No, I'm saying at an event though, if you can't escape or get into a pool, then what? Still the same?
I still
Yeah.
quit.
See what I mean?
Yeah, I would do it. I would just do it in shorts. You're expecting me to be there.
I've
I'm
had
going
to do
dress.
that. The gorge up in Washington for Watershed every year. It is
Oh.
freaking hot.
But man,
3
that's a
days.
beautiful view.
3 days.
That's so
Yeah,
pretty.
it's
up there.
beautiful at
It
about
is
7
beautiful.
p.m. when you've had 3 tall boys and all the drunk people are not bothering you anymore.
Can I-
Then it's beautiful.
At 7
Can I
p.m.
be
when all the
honest
drunk people
about-
are what?
Not
Can-
bothering you and they're passed out in the grass.
And you're like
Yeah,
3
wait,
days of camping
Can
and you're
we
dirty.
be honest about Watershed, or should I not be?
Probably you want to save that one for another
I'll say this. I love the Oregon Jamboree. I will say that. I was shocked at how well people were behaved when I was there, and I'm sure people get crazy down there. I was shocked there were not people throwing up on the sides. I was shocked that people were not passed out in the middle
it's a
of the
very
yard.
different festival than Watershed.
I was
The whole-
amazed at the friendliness of the environment.
Right.
And I'll say, how's that? I went a positive spin on
No,
it.
they have lots of shade and lots of grass, and I think that makes
And
a big
trees.
difference. And
There are
that's,
trees.
Yeah, the trees make the that second stage.
Yeah.
That's I mean,
It's all-
oh
yeah,
my
it's
gosh, it's
awesome.
awesome. If
If
you haven't
you-
been to Oregon Jamboree, you should go for that reason.
Well, this is the year to do it.
Can I give a
Absolutely.
side note on heat? Like where I've
Okay.
been? Like so 2 summers ago we went to Vegas for Backstreet Boys, and it was that couple days that flights were being canceled because the planes couldn't fly because it was so hot. And we fell victim to that. We were supposed to go a Friday to a Monday, and the Backstreet Boys show is Saturday night. And we got a call from the airline on Friday afternoon saying our flight had been canceled because the airline that was coming from Vegas to Billings
melted.
to drop people off and pick us up couldn't leave the tarmac.
Yeah, because the rubber the ground is so hot.
It was
that
too
it
hot.
melts. Yeah,
Sticks to tires.
the tires. Yeah,
Too
literally.
hot.
That's a thing.
So literally, we had to fly out on Saturday morning. So their flight had to leave in like the middle of the night on Friday night, so it could fly like in somewhat cool air. And so our flight ended up being super early on Saturday morning so that it could fly.
So, Tony,
Wow.
note to yourself, don't go to Vegas in August. It's hot.
or Phoenix ever.
Or
Yeah.
June or
What's
July.
the temperature at the blackjack table? That's all I need to
Oh,
know.
those are a nice, comfortable 82
Oh, I'll be
degrees. Yeah,
fine.
that's good.
I ain't going
You stick
outside.
to like the MGM,
Yeah.
Excalibur that are connected
York,
by
New York.
They're
like
all-
the-
they're
yeah,
all
you never have to go
connected.
outside
of the
Yes.
bridge.
Yeah.
But if you had to go outside, like we had to go outside to go to the Bellagio, and I instantly was just,
Yeah.
Oh, can I ask those since you guys brought it up? Like I see pictures on Facebook and stuff. I've never been to Las Vegas, and so
which blows my
I
mind.
know. I'm
they
having a
show
hard
those,
time with that.
when I see people's pictures around the pools, it looks like there's movie stars everywhere. I mean, like everyone looks beautiful.
That's because
Is it
there's
like-
tons of beautiful people
Is
in
that
Vegas.
really what it's like around
And that's
the
what
pool?
we
It's
all
like,
look like when we're there.
like one hot person after another.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Man, I can keep my shirt
Yeah.
on and
Just
walk
keep in
around.
mind that some of
Oh,
those
wow.
pool parties you're seeing is like $100 cover for the day to get in, and the cabanas cost like upwards of $3,000. So the beautiful
Yeah.
people in there
Can't afford
have
it.
lots of money.
I'm just shocked he said he was going to keep his shirt on. I guess he's not Instagramming in
Well,
Vegas.
if there's not, I gotta have perfect lighting,
It's too hot to wear a shirt.
which will come back to my topic later.
Well, you know what? Who wants to go next, Jen or Tony?
I guess I'll go next.
Okay, go ahead, Jen.
We were talking about this this morning on the show. Returning food at a restaurant, like
Ooh,
if it's
That's dicey.
it can be dicey, and I'm not saying you should do it all the time, but if the dish is not good, and you're paying your hard-earned money for it.
I
Like,
get it.
She did that.
Shouldn't
I
you
agree
get
with that.
something that you
Sure.
like if you're paying for it?
You did that in Memphis.
I did do it in
we
Memphis.
went to a place and she didn't like the appetizer. It was too salty, and she asked
They
for
was
a different
so
appetizer. And
salty.
they swapped it out. They didn't charge you for it, but I
No.
was like, oh, it's a risk.
She looked like she was.
It was late in the evening. She was about to close. She was like,
And you were not at Ruth's Chris. You were at a rooftop like bar.
Wait.
The person.
It was nice though. It
What
was
is
It
nice.
was
that
a
movie
no
with
Michelin
Dane
star
Cook?
place. It wasn't that nice.
With
Which
the
one?
restaurant. Dane Cook worked in a restaurant.
Waiting. Yeah, I learned a lot from that. Yeah,
Watch that, and you'll never send anything back.
Nope.
Yeah, I always get leery if there's hair in your food. Like sometimes
Yeah.
everyone's experienced it once or twice.
I bet you haven't.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
You
literally,
take out the hair and you continue on.
right. Just keep. You can't pull these little short ones from your
Not
beard.
that way.
Ew.
But no, yes, I agree with you 100%. They're like, yeah, sorry, there's a hair in my food. Can we get a new dish? I always get leery about it, but I'm like, at that point, I'm like, my stomach's upset. I don't want to eat anyway.
And they'll
Send it
probably
back.
cut you a break on that. They would probably I think if you just send something back because it's too salty, not warm enough, or you don't like the way it tastes, or it's
Right.
not cooked right.
Yeah, that's all sketch.
I think you're looking at, from what I understand from my daughter and my ex-wife, they worked in that environment, and you do that the cooks and the chefs are very narcissistic.
Sure.
And so whenever they're pissed.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they don't know what's wrong with you that you would criticize their food. So I always just wonder.
Were you
Right.
ever a chef?
No.
Just curious.
You can
I'm
send
too-
it back
I'm
if they
too
bring you the wrong
narcissistic to
thing.
be a
That's
chef.
about it.
Now,
Bring you the wrong entree.
Yeah.
If they bring you the wrong thing,
That's
you can go
different.
like, this is not what I ordered.
Yeah.
So
That's
then
it.
it's on them, right?
But another thing too is if you don't eat your plate when it comes time for them to take the dish, a lot of times they won't charge you for it, knowing that you didn't touch it for some reason or another.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So you're saying, I'll just use an example. You go to Red Lobster, you get steak and lobster.
Ooh, yummy.
Oh, that sounds like me, all right.
You order you order the steak and you order it well, and it comes rare. You don't send it back. You just
No,
leave
you
it
can
there.
send that back.
Okay, that's
That's not what
Mm.
you ordered.
Yes.
Okay.
That's not what you ordered.
If you're
Yeah.
ordering a steak and they specifically ask you how you want it prepared and it comes back not prepared that way,
Right.
They're like, hey, what's all this extra stuff on the top? Well, that's butter.
And aren't you very nice about it too? Like, oh, you know
yeah,
what? This
yeah,
looks
yeah.
You gotta be
wonderful.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I'm
I
not-
really
Humble and kind, that's the
appreciate.
thing, but,
Yeah,
like-
I go above and beyond to be nice in a
and
situation.
usually if I'm in a situation like that where I need to send something back and the people are like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Extra tip. We always tip extra.
Yeah.
On
That's
that
smart. That's
because
smart.
because it's like I don't want to insult anybody, but hey, like if I'm paying $16 just for my meal alone, then you got a couple drinks in there, and all of a sudden like you're paying $80. Like
Oh,
I
you
had
have the right. Absolutely, you have the right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I only worry about what happens to the food when it goes back to
See,
you.
now,
but
I
the
never
right comes with
thought
a
about
risk.
that.
Yeah,
I
I'm
never
sorry.
thought about that, and now I'm going to.
I'm sorry. I
Now,
shouldn't have brought it
if you do a
that's
fast
not
food
real, nobody
drive-through
does
and you drive back through like, hey, this is not right. You
No.
can have it. I'm out. I want my money
Yeah,
back.
you're talking a couple bucks anyway.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. I know some really ugly stories of drive-through that happened in Vancouver.
and these are kids
To a friend of
making
mine.
minimum wage.
Drive-through food, like, you just eat what they give you.
Yeah,
Just drive on.
unless it's not the Beyond Burger from Carl's Jr. like I asked for.
Yeah.
Then-
Ooh.
Yeah. Different
Oh,
story.
yeah, that's a
Different
big
thing.
difference.
Yeah.
What do you mean you put cheese on my plant-based burger?
Speaking
Try
of, I'm hungry. Let's get something.
Speaking of food, Tony, nothing to do
No.
with food. So what's your concern about fake people on dating
Well,
profiles?
I don't even want to use the word fake people because I find this sad. Okay.
Okay.
But I can't tell you the number of dates that I've showed up on, and people show up and they don't really look like their pictures.
So, like, if you order something on Amazon and you get it in the box and you open it up and it's a little smaller or looks differently than what you thought it would.
Oh, it's rarely smaller.
Okay, well,
Oh, ouch.
See, here's the problem with that. We live in a world now, today, and I'm not going to use the word political correctness, but where
I think I already stomped all over that today.
I think where in some areas honesty is criticized. I said on my dating profile, I find myself attracted to thin women. And I got lit up a couple times for it. Now think about that. If I said I'm gay, he would not say to me, I want you to like women. If I said I'm straight, you would not try to get me to like men because we all have our taste, right?
Right.
And so I was just trying to be honest because that is who I am. I don't think I'm not Bradley Cooper by any means. I'm not, I mean, I'm older. I'm not, but when you meet me, you're going to go, that's the guy in the pictures.
Yeah.
That's the guy
fair. That's who I saw.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what I
He
find,
really does talk like that.
and what you'll see a lot of women do, and I find this sad because it shows the world we live in. Like a lot of their pictures will be from maybe here up,
Right. Or the angle.
or the angle.
Yeah.
Every single picture. And what I want to say to them is, be you.
Be real.
Show who you are. Show your entire body. And here's why. Because
So you can swipe right.
well, not necessarily that, but so that when you show up and you walk through that door, that guy that's waiting on you is waiting on you.
Right.
Yeah.
And as soon as he sees you, he's like, you well represented.
Right.
If you present yourself one way and show in looking another, then you feel like you've been lied to. And that goes the other way. I talk to a lot of, we go out, when you meet these people on online dating, you always compare stories. Sometimes
Sure.
you even show each other pictures. And women have it worse than men, believe it or not. But guys do the same thing. You know, what I hear a lot of the guys are doing, they'll post pictures of when they were 10 years younger.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Or they'll wear hat in every picture.
Yeah.
And
Like Kenny
why?
Chesney?
Yeah.
What do you mean Danny doesn't have hair?
Right. But
For years, people thought he had a whole head of hair. Him and Tim McGraw.
yeah,
That's the same with Cole Swindell.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
different man as soon as that hat comes off.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being bald. There's nothing wrong with being overweight. There's nothing wrong with being skinny. I love what one lady said to me.
Right.
We're all perfect.
Exactly.
For someone.
That's a great line.
You know,
You are more honest in advertising, is what you're saying.
So,
Yes.
and another thing, you'll see a lot of people wear sunglasses in literally every picture because why? We look younger when we're in sunglasses.
Or they're not.
When you're my age,
Yeah.
you get started getting it, and I get it, man, and I never get upset if somebody walks in and I'm like, man, they do not really look like their picture. I get it. We all want love. We all want someone to spend our life with, and what we're hoping is, even when we misrepresent ourselves, is I'm going to walk in and I'm going to win this person over. I'm not going to, I sent the pictures aren't really, they were younger when I was younger, when I was thinner or whatever, but I'm going to walk in and they're going to like me. And what happens is when you walk in there, they can't get to your personality because they feel like,
There's a roadblock already.
there was a dishonesty.
Yeah,
It's
you've
a
been
matter
lying
of-
to me this whole
They've
time.
been dishonest.
Well, and not just that, but they're setting sometimes themselves up for
Thank
disappointment
And they
because
can't, yeah.
because what happens
This
is
is
they
the big point
they
to
walk
make.
in and they think, okay, I'm going to win you over. My picture wasn't what I actually look
Right.
like. And then you don't reach back out. There's no second date. There's no texting on the side. And they wonder oh, well, what was wrong with me? What was wrong was that you weren't who you said you were.
Yeah,
And then they wonder why, why didn't this
Right.
person want to hang out with me more?
yeah,
Oh,
and
Right.
you know,
And with Tony,
That-
there's multiple reasons for that.
yeah, I can give you a laundry list.
God, you
I'm
guys
not-
are being so mean today.
To Tony, though.
It is so. Jen, I'm so glad you said that. 'Cause
No, you're true.
that is the most important thing. Is that I don't want to say too much. There was a friend of mine that would go on these dates, and then they said to me every time, I don't know what's happening. Every time I go, and we'll have these text conversations, we'll have phone conversations, and then I go, and then they never get back in touch with me.
Right.
And if you looked at their profile, it wasn't what they really looked like. It was they looked like absolutely perfect.
Okay, let me
in
ask you this
every
question.
photo.
Okay, go ahead.
And
'Cause
then, yeah,
I've never been to these dating sites. I don't
Right.
even know where they exist. 'Cause
Right.
I don't need to worry about that.
Right.
But when you say your profile, does it give you an opportunity to say, can they doctor up their photo, because there's this thing called Facetune, and I know there's people that use
Sure.
it. I
Yeah.
get it. But are you saying in a profile I'm 5'7", thin, 120, and whatever, and then they use a different picture, but they show up as a brunette?
Well, they don't put
Or are
weight
they
stuff on
fixing
there.
their
No.
face so much? Because I know a lot of people that use Facetune and
Right.
selfie mode to fix their stuff.
absolutely. It's more that it's the photos. The
Okay.
photos are very, very, very doctored, and really. So what you always have to assume, and maybe this goes for me too when I show up, is you have to add about 5 years in your mind if you can.
Are
This
you?
person is not going to show up
Looking
with,
like this.
with no wrinkles
Right.
and the perfect face.
Sure.
But every picture on there looks like they're 35 years
Well,
old.
we all, yeah. Okay, well, let me ask you a different question.
Yeah.
On your profile, I know you get like 5 or 6
Yeah.
pictures. Do you have your picture of Garth up there? Do you use like, I got an artist with me, look at that. as
No, I
part of
use
your
the one
bait?
with me and Jake Byron.
Oh, that'll
that's
get you there,
yeah.
too.
And
I
then,
use Danny Dwyer
then
when
I
I
show
show
up
up
in their,
because-
then I show up in their piss because they thought I was
They're
going to be
looking
Jake.
for Jake.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why that one woman called you Jake.
They're like,
once.
oh, you're the other guy in the picture.
No, actually, there was one of the best pictures
Is that your
ever
son?
taken of me was with you two, and I did have it up there for a while. And people
Oh,
were-
with our black bull shirts on?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That was a
So-
good pick.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it
so,
makes
yeah.
me wonder because, like, I hate to admit it, but I mean, we're all getting older. Everyone gets wrinkles. They don't like to see it, so they all fix them.
Speak
But
for yourselves.
but
Said the youngest girl on the
yeah,
staff.
concussion wearing a helmet.
Yeah. How'd your head feel?
I'm kidding.
And you're sympathetic, right? I mean,
Right,
it's
yeah, but I mean,
hard.
there's a certain point. Like, I get your point now. I'm seeing it because I'm trying to follow along with you and understand what
Yeah.
you're saying. Like, it's okay to fix a couple, crow's
Oh, no.
nest around your eyes or whatever. But when you walk in, it's completely like a blonde and a brunette. You're like, whoa, what happened overnight? That'd be like,
And we all
Wow.
we all
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
have
no.
Danny Dwyer genes. He's 72, by the way.
no, no. You walk in, they, there's, it's them,
Right.
But you're usually like,
Okay.
oh, wow,
Gotcha.
okay, that there's more going on than there was in the pictures,
and that's where the dishonesty starts. You
So
can't
you're,
trust
you're
them.
hoping you seen that commercial for the camera where they can take a selfie and then like zoom out to get everything in. You want them to start using that feature. is what
Well,
you're
it's
saying.
really to a point where is if they don't, and this sounds horrible and will sound like an absolute a-hole, but if there's not a full body shot, I just assume that I'm not going to go. Rarely will I go.
At Tony Russell Radio.
No. Because it's like I am attracted to a certain body type just like they are.
Right, sure.
Right? And trust me, there's been women that I went out with, and I'm sure they looked at me and my physique or whatever and said, that's not what I'm looking for.
So you've been doing this for a long time, this fishing you're doing.
Uh-huh.
And I saw your blog. Are you looking for a unicorn? And I asked that to you. Are you looking for something
I
that
think
doesn't
so.
exist in this world?
I might be the typical online dater. I'm a 6 looking
What's
for a 10.
online?
Online?
Online.
Yeah. I'm a 6 looking for a 10 maybe. I don't know.
Oh, you're a solid 7, Tony.
Well, thank
For
you.
your age.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I
You
don't know.
have-
That
you have
was just
champagne taste with a beer budget.
I get it. I mean, you're trying to find the best possible person for you on that. So
Yeah.
I understand why you would not settle for anything less, but at some point, maybe your bar might be set too high.
Yeah, and I think I've learned that. I mean, for me, there's I just want the initial attraction, but that's not the most important because we can all find somebody we're attracted to.
It does seem like it's very high on your list, though. Tony.
It is.
It
high
is.
It is high on my list.
But
Like,
I
it's
thi-
number
but I-
one on your list. I mean,
What-
it's all you ever. It's
Yeah,
the 1st
I'll-
thing you ever bring up.
Here,
about
I'm going to
anybody.
give you a
Yeah.
challenge.
Right.
The next person you find that you are completely physically attracted to online, without meeting, just on the pictures,
Yeah.
I challenge you to spend 30 days not meeting that person, just texting.
Well, that's
Back
a
and forth.
nightmare.
It might be,
Yeah.
but you're going to know real quick if you're compatible with that person
Yeah.
by the ability to have an interesting conversation on a consistent
But
basis.
if I'm not attracted to someone, I'm not going to be able to.
No, but I'm
I
not-
can't date them. Like, I mean,
See,
I'm not going to
think
be able to.
I think that's where you're because I mean, look, at this point, it's the wheels are going to start falling off the wagon.
Well,
Like it's only going to go downhill
I'm not
from there.
saying
So
I'm
you
looking
gotta,
for a boom shakalaka boom.
no,
boom
but
who's
when the
32
when
years
the
old.
attraction and the sex goes away, what's left? And you got to make sure you have that still. Otherwise, you're going to end up
Absolutely.
miserable
That's
once
why I
that
say
doesn't work
maybe
anymore.
I'm looking for the total package that doesn't exist. Maybe.
Well, maybe I'm just saying, spend more time focusing on the connection before you get blinded by the attraction.
This coming from a guy who's got a girlfriend who's kind of hot. Not that it's inappropriate.
But and back to the conversation that you and I had too. Is
She
that,
is hot, and I can, I can
Let's
say it on
move
the girl.
next to Danny Dwyer.
I know, I have
Who you
Jens in
seen
my
Danny
life all
Dwyer's
around.
wife? Boom, shakalaka, boom, boom.
Kimmy's hot too.
Which, by
yeah.
the way, I just found out she was older than me. I thought she was younger than me this whole time.
Oh.
Kimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally thought she was younger than me.
Oh.
Not everybody goes gray at 25.
But like you and I had this conversation the other day
27,
too,
jerk.
is that I think when you are just looking too hard, when you're looking for what you are wanting so desperately, and needing,
Oh, yeah.
that it never appears. So
you're
it
right.
suddenly is out of the blue. You're like, whoa, where did that come from? I mean, when Kimmy and I met, I was single, living life to the fullest, and enjoying every weekend partying,
rocking that mullet.
Yeah, it was awesome.
baby.
But I never expected to meet her, and then when I saw her, and I was like, whoa. You know, I mean, I think that's part of your
don't
situation.
Don't you have to be attracted to someone to date them?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
No.
You don't have to be physically
You don't have
attracted.
to be. I'm saying that's a you thing. It's a lot of people thing.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
definitely a you thing.
But
yeah,
not
I
as
agree.
important
If
as
I'm
the
not
connection.
physically attracted to you, I can't. I've tried even. Like I've tried to be with people. Like I'm not that physically attracted, but I really like that person. They're a good person, and then I usually end up feeling like I could just be friends with them.
I'm
But I
not
can be
physically
friends.
attracted to you, but I like talking to you and hanging
That's
out
what
with
I'm
you.
saying.
And
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
If
okay.
I meet women I'm not
Maybe
physically
a little
attracted to,
bit.
I can be friends with them. I love them. I think they're wonderful people.
Right.
But if there's not a physical sexual attraction, then
My point is that it's high on your list, and it's a high on a lot of people's list.
Sure.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with
Yeah.
it. You got to have that physical attraction, but it doesn't. That's not paramount for everybody. And
Yeah.
so I'm guessing with a lot of these women who misrepresent themselves, they're hoping to find one of those guys too, for whom
Right.
a stimulating conversation or a sense of humor or a successful work ethic or anything like that jazz is maybe higher on their list than the physical attractiveness.
that's
and
awesome.
those guys exist
Yeah.
too.
Sure.
I hope so.
It's probably
I
hard
hope
to
so.
find. I imagine, a
It
physical
is.
attraction is high on my list.
Oh, dude,
Right.
And
I
it's
wish
not top, but
I say this all the time. I wish looks did not matter to me. Like I wish I could just close my eyes and just fall in love with a person based just on that.
Right.
Because that is, like you said, that goes back to what Joe's saying and what you're saying. That's what's going to last, right? That's what takes us into our 70s, and where you're walking the beach together and you still love being together, and it's just
shallow
so,
Hal
well,
with me. You need that shallow Hal.
Yeah, you find that extra
Yeah.
toe, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's
but,
right.
But that's why a lot of people will do the if you're serious about finding your soulmate, and I mean really serious, Tony.
Yeah.
You might consider an eHarmony or Cupid.com or one of those other that has a pay gate, because what they do is they fill out this huge questionnaire, lots of detailed questions about personality types,
Right.
and then they bring a stable of people in that match all of those criteria that Bumble and these other things don't.
Right.
So then you have like a filtered view, and then you can start looking through the ones you're connected to physically
Right.
at that
Yeah.
point. So maybe you should consider something like that.
Farmers
But I guess he's gonna ask me.
I thought
He's gonna ask me for a raise now.
I don't even own a lawnmower.
Plenty of fish or whatever it's called.
Plenty of
I was
Fish
on
is a
Plenty of
no-go.
Fish. That's
Christian
a
mingled,
no-gate?
Tony.
Yeah,
Christian
the
mingled.
Christian
You have a
mingled.
pastor background. I'm
There
just
you go.
saying.
There you go.
Oh boy. Well, let's take it to a lighter subject. Super Bowl Sunday halftime show that we're kind of mad about. Maroon 5's okay.
I'm not mad about it.
You're not mad about
I
it?
love Maroon 5.
Yeah, that's going to be a great show.
Oh,
I don't. Maybe it's me because I've seen them come up through the ranks. I don't see them as that iconic band like all the ones in the past have been mostly.
Oh, I think they're the last rock band.
Oh, that's a good point.
No Goo Goo Dolls. I would argue
No,
that.
you mean
come on,
you
guys.
were
We're
Creed.
Maroon
No,
5.
I think- no,
When
no,
were they
no,
ever a
I
rock
think-
band?
I think
No,
Jake,
they-
you're
Goo
saying
Dolls were
it's
rock
one of the last rock bands people were actually listening to and buying their albums and
Yeah,
going to
it's
their
the
concerts.
last rock
yeah.
What about Imagine Dragons, you guys?
Oh God, I love them.
right?
All right.
I like them too.
my God,
That's
I
right.
love
And,
them.
and they could play Super Bowl, and I'd be a little more excited about
Let's
it.
say,
just
like,
saying.
my opinion is outdated. 5 years ago, Maroon 5 was the last
Fair.
rock band. And now you're right. There's some new
There's a couple bands coming
people.
up.
There's even people that I like, and I'm not even connected to the world anymore. But
Weezer, they just put out the best cover album of all time last week.
Goo Goo Dolls is one of my
Weezer
favorite bands.
predates Maroon 5. I
Oh,
guess I'm
that's
talking
true.
about
Okay, yeah, I see your point.
they're the latest rock band.
It's like when you see someone who starts out as a part-timer grow into a bigger role and are building, it's hard to see them beyond that first role you initially saw them at. And I guess that's what my thing
They're
is.
no Nickelback or Creed, but
But my question is,
Greek are great bands.
before as we get
love those
excited
guys.
about this
Take me
Super
higher.
Bowl,
Take
who
me
had
higher,
the
baby.
best performance of all time? And someone just said Imagine Dragons are bad live. Don't judge it off that one football performance of Lil Wayne 2 weeks ago. That was not a good example.
you bite your tongue.
I digress.
And I should further say, I'm not that excited about this. It's not that I don't think this is the worst one in 10 years. This is
Sure.
one of the best in 10 years.
Let's be honest. New Kids on the Block did it once, so.
Why not have a Garth Brooks, a Taylor Swift?
Now, see, why Garth hasn't done it yet blows my... I thought for sure this would be
especially
the year.
Yeah.
Garth, because let's be honest, man, that guy he comes
Would have
out
been
and
Garth
lights it
this
up.
is
year.
why.
It would have been Luke, and it would have been the Georgia Gang.
Right.
Would have been
True.
the right choice this year.
This year to do it. Sure. Down in Atlanta, it would have been hometown.
The
to
last
do it right
time,
in front of
the last
Brown
time they
band.
were in
Like,
Atlanta
from
was a
Atlanta.
country show. It was Travis Tritt and Shania and Winona and Tanya Tucker.
Yeah.
Um,
Would have been a good time to do it. I mean,
I agree.
And at that time, when that performance took place, they were at that level too.
Yeah,
They were
country
all-
was huge. at
Shania
that
was
point.
like huge.
But like
Think
if you
about-
see like all all the artists and genres that have filtered through since that performance, country's never been filtered back in.
You're
Like
right.
it's a really long gap since we've had our artists, which
Right.
is funny to me because I feel like the football fan and the country fan
Are the
are the same
Right.
person.
And
I
two
agree.
of the biggest, and I think that's why they try to tap into a fan base that already isn't watching, which might have something to do with it. But two of the,
Georgia,
if not
Georgia.
the biggest artists of all time, are both country artists.
And
You got Garth Brooks and Taylor Swift. Why have neither one of them done a halftime show?
But think how many huge artists are from Georgia.
Yeah, Kane Brown,
Luke, Kane
Zach
Brown,
Brown.
half of Florida
Zach
Georgia
Brown.
line,
Florida Georgia line.
Zach
Yeah.
Brown
half of them.
band.
Half of
Jason
them.
Aldean.
Florida Georgia line.
Yeah.
I mean, God, the
Right.
halftime show would have been
That was it.
unbelievable.
But
Misty
Tim McGraw
says-
is performing the pregame ceremony.
That's not the same.
I know, but
Doesn't
still.
matter. Doesn't
Janet
count.
Jackson,
Yeah.
best ever,
Oh.
says Misty. What about you guys?
What?
Janet Jackson
Halftime
the
show.
One, the one that ruined it.
With Justin
yeah.
Timberlake.
Justin
and the nip
Timberlake's
slip?
had two, by the way. Come on.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear a funny story about
That was a good one, though.
the Janet
Three,
Jackson
right?
one?
With NSYNC.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
He has
Yeah.
been three.
Oh,
Yeah.
one, which was the best one.
Yeah.
Of all
I
time.
was
one, huh?
I was a pastor the year Janet Jackson Super Bowl, and we decided to have the Super Bowl party at the church on the big screens.
Oh my gosh! Of all years.
Wow, that's awkward.
Woof. There
I
they
mean,
were
not
in the
really.
good- in the Lord's house, and I was like, roof.
Was it really? Was it really that awkward?
Well,
Because who even knew it happened in the moment?
I just remember going.
Like, who even
I
noticed?
remember going. Was that a nip? I think it was a nip. But and then everyone else was like, "Whoa!"
So
And
was
then
that your favorite?
It was one of those moments where everyone was just kind of like, "Oh, I didn't see that."
I had to watch it in slow motion because it was so quick.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was.
we still had DVR. I'm lucky DVR was a thing at that point. I may have
But
paused and
didn't she
rewound that a
have
few times.
what do you call those
To
things?
see, I was like, did
She
I
had
just
like
see
a,
what I thought
she had
I
like
just
a
saw?
metal plate.
She had
Yeah.
like a
Yeah, but it wasn't
thing.
like with a pokey throughy.
Yeah, I
Right.
didn't.
Right.
I never found it to
I don't know what
be.
it's called.
Did anyone in this room
The
find
nipple
it?
was poking through the middle of the metal plate. You could see it.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Yeah,
know that
yeah,
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anybody find it offensive?
They called it a
though?
shield,
No.
I think.
No, but
I didn't.
that did ruin
It
the
did.
Super Bowl halftime show.
Oh
Because
my
the next
God.
like 5 were horrible.
It
Yes.
changed everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Who.
It wasn't until about Katy Perry when we finally
Yeah.
bounced back.
I
Right.
vote Gaga.
Oh,
good one.
Gaga was a good one.
I'm gonna go.
Oh, one, you
go ahead,
guys.
Danny.
Right,
Ah,
this
Super
year
Bowl
would have been
35.
huge for, and then
Super
bring
Bowl
Bradley
35,
Cooper out
greatest
of it.
ever.
That was
No
the
question.
NSYNC.
Now I can't stop
NSYNC,
thinking about that
Aerosmith.
video of yesterday.
Britney,
Britney Spears. That was a
That
good
video.
one.
Nelly, Mary J.
Oh,
Blige.
that was
Yeah,
good.
that
Michael,
was a
Michael,
good one.
Michael Jackson though, jumping up onto the stadium and all that.
Michael Jackson was big. It's funny now that we start talking about him. I remember them, but I've never known the year like you do. That's crazy. I still enjoy last year's with Justin. I thought that was phenomenal. I thought it was great.
I'm
And
gonna-
people criticized him when he sang "Purple Rain."
That was no,
So-
that's Prince.
No,
No, but he sang a-
He
He
sang
sang.
"Purple Rain" to
'Cause it was
honor
in
Prince
Minnesota.
In
because it was in
Minnesota, right.
and
People gave him a
were-
hard time
I'm
about
like,
that.
He was like, I know I'm no Prince. I
People
was just
always have
trying
to hate.
I know.
It's
There's always haters.
unbelievable.
So
My friend
annoying.
Bubba said Gaga. I thought Gaga was great, but I'm going to say Prince. When he went out there, and first of all, I don't know if everybody knew what a great guitarist he was,
No,
but
I
he
didn't.
starts shredding, and then he goes into Purple Rain, the rain comes down, and then he does that Foo Fighters song. I'm like, all right, he touched every kind of musical fan base
Right.
He
through
was
that
incredible.
performance, and it was electric.
Who,
I
who else
didn't
was on
realize
that
he
one?
could play guitar.
It was just
like that.
Prince.
Yeah,
It's
see,
just
that's not-
Prince.
I need a.
You need more.
That's the thing. When you're
Yeah.
that
Thing.
when you're that good that you can put on a
Oh.
performance like that without a special guest,
Who-
like Bruno Mars needed Chili Peppers. Come on,
Who
get
was
out of
with
here.
No.
Beyonce? Who was with
I don't know,
Beyonce?
No, it was Chris Coldplay.
Oh,
Chris
yeah,
Martin.
right.
Chris Martin.
That was pretty good.
That was cool.
And they're
It was
like
cool.
all buddies.
I forgot about
That's
Bruno
gotta
Mars
be
too. That was a
interesting.
good one.
Bruno was. Yeah.
Didn't Beyonce also show up with Bruno? And Chili Peppers, didn't she make a quick cameo in that?
It was Bruno and was it Beyonce? It was
Somebody.
Bruno. It was Chris Martin and it was. God, was it Beyonce? That seems too big.
No, that was 2 different years.
I don't remember.
Wait,
I
did
know
Bruno
it's
come out with that? I don't
Two
remember
different
now.
performances. I feel like she showed up a second time.
Which one are we
Kinda
showing on the
sounds right.
screen? Is that the
That's
that's the
the
Prince
Prince
one?
one,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
yeah.
That
That's
was
crazy.
awesome.
Yeah.
That
It's
was
good.
such a cool performance. So I don't know.
I don't.
Who's performing the national anthem this year? I haven't heard.
Oh, that's a good question.
I have not heard.
I
Usually
don't,
by
they
now
haven't
we know.
announced it yet.
They
Anybody have-
haven't?
No.
Oh, I
No,
thought
they
it was.
did.
Yeah,
It's an older person.
Google it.
It's like somebody who was famous
Jen can't look at a screen, or she would.
Oh,
God, it's like
back in the 70s.
it's a Etta James or
Etta
something
James.
like that. Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh, wow.
Etta James?
right?
She's in
Is she
Atlanta.
alive?
Yeah, it's somebody from
Yeah.
Atlanta, I think.
It's somebody
Oh.
from
Right.
Bad.
Oh, that's cool though. I mean,
That
right
name
on.
does.
Hey, Siri.
It was.
Misty says Bruno was alone. No, he had the Chili Peppers come out.
Or F.
National anthem. F. Put some money in the jar, Jen.
Hey Siri, who is performing the national anthem for the
Went
Super
too
Bowl?
Gladys
Knight.
Clinton Pips. There you go.
Last night, didn't she just? Oh, that was
she
Aretha
never
Franklin.
understands me.
Well,
Ever. How does she?
listen
Because of
to
your
yourself.
accent.
I guess so.
Who's going to be owning the
Watch it.
Super
Let me
Bowl?
see.
Nobody owns
Right.
the Super Bowl.
This
Okay,
is
you-
the funny thing,
you-
though,
you
since
go.
we're talking about Super Bowl.
Hey Siri.
She's ignoring you.
Hey Siri.
Oh, this is
I think
funny.
phones are tuned these days, though. So it should only be here listening.
Just
to
hold the
Jen.
button. There you go.
Who is playing at the Super Bowl halftime show?
Ordering to go.
Ah!
yeah, it's funny.
I had to push the button to get her to listen to me.
I was loving the fact that it's media week in Atlanta. It's crazy, and so all the odds started coming in last night. I was watching some of the bookie stuff that was coming down the lines.
Yes, it's great.
Everything like what color shirt is Adam gonna wear for halftime? What is going to be the first
real?
missed punt? Oh, it's ridiculous.
So what
He'll
keeps
be
Adam
wearing
Levine
black.
from going to Vegas and betting $7 billion and then wearing a red
I
shirt?
know.
I
know.
Or
guarantee he'll
telling
be
somebody.
wearing black.
Huh?
He'll be wearing black, like all
Probably.
black.
But
Adam
it
Levine?
was
Yeah.
crazy to see all the different things. How many minutes will it take before Brady throws a 10-yard throw? It was like everything was coming down. I'm like, man, they were saying that there's more states betting this year for the Super Bowl than any time before.
Which I would have guessed that this would be a low interest Super Bowl.
Just
I
because
agree.
of the teams.
Kind of.
that
Well,
are in
two
it.
big cities involved, so I mean,
Right.
there's
But-
big fan bases.
So
The rest, Middle America is going to
And
be like,
it is a team.
and you've got that
people
St. Louis fan base
don't want to
too.
watch win, and
It's
they
way
think
too
they
cold
might,
anyway.
and a team that nobody cares about.
Okay,
True.
comment.
I totally
comment
agree.
below. We want to know: are you saying Rams or Patriots? I'm just curious if there are any other Patriots fans here.
What's the ask? Is it who's going to win, or
Who's
who do you
gonna
want to
win?
win?
Okay.
Who are you rooting for? I think is the
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
That's fair.
Now,
That's
here's
two
the other
different things.
question.
By the
for
way,
me.
if you want to see Siri do something really cool, say, "Hey Siri, 108."
Hey
108.
Siri.
Oh crap! It went on mine. I did it to myself.
Don't do it, Jen.
Oh, what a fun prank that is!
you
Now
just
everyone's
called
doing it.
emergency.
Don't do that. It automatically
No.
dials.
Yeah.
But now you know if you need to say that in an emergency, you can
Hey Siri,
cancel.
rap for me.
You don't have any hip hop and rap music.
Ask her to beatbox for you.
What I
Hey,
think
Siri.
is crazy is how many people
Beatbox
are
for
listening
me.
to this
Ready?
right now on their phones just called
Here's
emergency
one I've been
service.
practicing. Boots and cats and boots and cats and
Boots and cats and boots and cats and boots and cats.
I do this all day.
Well, we've gone downhill
Yeah.
from here at this point.
Crazy.
We're singing boots and cats.
That's funny.
And that's
Let
not,
me just say something really quick about
that's
Super
not
Bowl,
even
'cause
the
Jake,
concussion
you're
making her
pulling
do that.
for
The
Tom
Pats.
Brady and the Pats.
Yeah.
Jan and the rest of us are all calling for the Rams.
No, I'll root for the Patriots.
Well, let me put it to you this way.
For
And
why?
because you just brought up like, look,
Tom
it's the
Brady's been
lowest
to more
interest-
Super Bowls than
Hey,
any other
Danny's
team.
talking.
Yeah, hang on.
Sorry.
You just said this. This is the lowest people that ever want to see the Super Bowl. Like, okay, here they go again. Whatever. Let's admit that if it comes to like a 2-minute warning and they're tied and it comes down, that's going to change everything. I feel that's going to bring everybody back to like, oh my God. Because let's admit the Patriots and the Chiefs, that should have been the Super Bowl game. How intense it was going back and forth, just like the Rams and the Saints.
I agree, but I think this game is going to be almost as good.
I'm hoping so, because if not, then this is going to be like another Janet Jackson moment. Like, great,
But
I
how
don't care
many?
about the Super
But
Bowl
how many
anymore.
times have we seen the Super Bowl be a letdown compared to the conference finals?
But
That's
how
happened
about-
many times before.
How about this? How do you think the executives in the NFL office felt when they saw that call be made that would keep them from having a Breeze versus Brady Super Bowl?
Oh yeah,
I mean, the two guys over 40 years old,
Yeah.
two Hall of Famers, two guys that
True.
are absolutely incredible. They had it right there in the palm of their hand.
Yeah.
They had ratings gold.
They should still play a game.
they should.
That would be
That would be
amazing.
epic.
If you like,
Maybe
if
next
you're
year.
among the refs are in on it conspiracy, that should be the single moment that changes your mind.
That's a good point because
Because if the
there's
refs
no
are in on
way.
it, you know who's telling them what to do.
Right.
It's the head office.
True.
And they would have absolutely wanted a Patriots Saints
yes.
Super Bowl.
True.
There's a lot that goes into that. Yeah, they want geographic involvement and the whole deal.
No, but I'm saying
Yeah.
like they got the Rams.
If any,
Nobody cares about the
in
Rams.
this day and time, it would be. I think it would. I hate to say this, but almost impossible for a ref not to get caught throwing games.
Total. I'm not
Eventually, right.
saying. I'm
Yeah.
saying like shut up about it because there's no way it's real. If it
Yeah.
were real,
Right.
we would be watching Breeze and Brady.
Right.
Absolutely.
Go head to head.
Yep.
Yeah, he's
Because
not
think
wrong.
of the Saints Like, think of a Saints versus Patriots game. How America would respond to that.
Can I be honest? I think the Patriots would kill them.
No, I don't think so. I
It'd
think
be
the
a good
Saints
game.
would roll
It'd be a
them.
good game
The
to watch.
Patriots are going to win no matter what. but,
Just
like,
remember the Eagles won last year.
It's a good point, Jen.
Yeah.
Nick Foles.
Just
off the
remember.
bench.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways.
miracles do happen, kids. Miracles do happen.
It's
No,
all
no.
just a bunch of BS.
What's
It's
Tom
all
Brady's
rigged.
wife? Tom Brady's wife, how Giselle, how she says it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we
you
have to let others win.
Yeah, it's true. It's not fun for anybody if the Patriots just go home with it every year.
And Tom Brady's like, yeah, next year we'll do that.
Yeah, ask Jimmy Johnson in NASCAR.
But I mean, I think it's pretty incredible that Tom Brady has been to more Super Bowls than any other team in the NFL. In the NFL.
Here's what I want him.
Pretty incredible.
I want him to go to another team, and I want Belichick to go to another team because
Like separate teams?
yes, because that
See
would
what
just
happens?
like I would love to see like one of them go to Cleveland, like a show, and just see what they can really do.
I'm not a sports guy, but I was reading those two don't really like each other that much.
That's what everybody says. but
Belichick
you,
and Brady?
You
How about
watch
that?
them after the game, and they always hug, right, when they win and stuff. I mean, like the Super Bowls, they always like last year. I think it was last year or the year that last year they won. Was it year before?
That was 2 years ago.
Oh,
Tony.
2 years ago. If you
Way to bring that up for Jake.
Everyone was counting them out, and I watched him walk up to Belichick. I think that was that one. And after the game, and he kind of hugs him, and they look at each other, kind of like,
Yep,
yeah, they
another one.
They count us out. They're talking crap
Count us out
about
every
us,
year.
and yet we
Right.
pull it off every year.
Was that Deflategate year?
Yes, it
Yes.
was.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
Hey, speaking of that, Jake needs to go get Jen some Chinese food to continue that bet from last year. So I think we got to wrap things up because Jen's looking like, okay, guys.
she's
I'm
looking
hungry.
a little.
No,
peaked.
the screens.
Starting to get a little
Stop
peaked.
looking at screens.
I have to have it on or else my light can't be on.
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, we got to stop this because Jen has a concussion, and we don't want this to be our fault if she files workman's comp. So we'll do it again every week at 10:30. And if you miss any of this, you can always hear it on demand 24/7 wherever you listen to podcasts or at 987thebull.com. So
Literally half everybody just stopped listening to you.
what?
Everybody pulled out their phone and they're already done with this podcast.
Oh. Okay, well, I'll just wrap it up by saying bye.
Bye.
Bye.